Hello there, lovely. Good morning and welcome to Camnet TV's breakfast show. Thank you so much for joining us. It is a Tuesday, whichever one you decide to choose. It's entirely up to you, dear viewer. But we're glad that you could still join us this particular morning and choose us amongst many. My name is Josh Martin, and of course, I am with Nelson Zulu. Nelson, good morning.
Good morning, Joe, and it is indeed another exciting day to keep on fighting and ensuring that we have that chance given to us and provide the best that has to be provided, given the fact that we call it a second chance and we leave no room for ensuring that Monday Blues take center stage. And glad that I'm joining you this morning after not being part of the broadcast as of yesterday. But regardless, I know a lot of exciting things did happen over the weekend. And among the exciting, I don't know if it is exciting to you as well as our technician upstairs in Isaac Chifita, is that Man U were the better side against,
miraculously.
Yes, not miraculously, but they were a better side against Manchester City. They did play some good football, courtesy of Maindo scoring goals for the Red Devils and denying you a chance to be part of the UEFA Champions League.
You know how we are. We are a very honest English Premier League team. We at the beginning of the season we did admit that look, we do have challenges, and it will take a miracle for us to even be able to qualify and play the UEFA in the next season because of the challenges that we had. We knew. So even when Manchester United won over the weekend, it wasn't a surprise to us. It's because we had already calculated the odds whether Manchester United won or lost that particular match. It doesn't hold any water to us. Yes, we know we're not going to play. We're going to play, is it the Conference Cup?
Yes, the Conference League.
Yeah, but either way, we are putting a strong team together, and it's just unfortunate that we've decided to let go of our coach. I think we should have maintained Mauricio. We should have maintained him so that he can build the team. Players are gelling together right now. And it's hard to see him go. But as a Chelsea fan, as Chelsea Football Club, obviously, we knew the challenge.
That is a Tabelo Joe's matter there, just trying to play to the gallery and ensure that he gives you that sweetest thing that you ever want to find out, especially if you are a Chelsea fan. But on top of that, he's very conscious about his health, and he's just confessed that, look, despite the game going the side of Manchester United, I was ensuring that my health is in check. And just talking about healthy, let's go to the health corner so that we're back on the other side and see what Dr. Nakuyana Mufaya has for us this morning.
Hello, good morning, and welcome to the Health Corner here on the Breakfast Show. I am Dr. Nakuyana Mufaya. So this week we are talking about asthma. Yesterday we say that asthma is a chronic inflammatory disease that affects the airways or the lungs, and it usually comes about because of a hyperresponsiveness that occurs in your airways that results in an obstruction in the airways and also excess mucus production. This can lead to somebody having wheezing and also just not being able to breathe well. So there'll be less air going to the lungs and reaching the lungs. And today we'll talk about some of the triggers of asthma. What really triggers asthma? So there are so many triggers that can trigger asthma. They can be environmental triggers such as smoking, somebody who inhales smoke, whether it's from somebody else smoking a cigarette or it's just smoke in the environment. It can trigger an asthmatic attack. It can also be triggered by dust in the environment, pollen from plants in the environment, pets as well. So if you keep any pets in the house, they can easily cause an asthmatic attack in somebody who has asthma. So make sure that your pets are well cleaned to avoid getting an asthmatic attack from the pets. Even the fur from the pets can also cause an asthmatic attack. Other triggers of asthma are that people who work in certain places where they're exposed to certain irritants or certain allergens. So people who work in mines, people who are painters, people who paint, people who build houses, were exposed to so much dust. Plumbers, they're also exposed to all this dust. And these are people who can easily get asthma because of their exposure to their work environments. So it's important for these people that who work in such places to wear masks all the time, that when they are doing their work, to avoid excess exposure to whether it's dust or paint or just the pollutants in the environment that they're exposed to. Then the other thing that can trigger asthma is that people who are allergic to certain medications, such as aspirin, they can also present with asthma. So they can, if you're allergic to aspirin or certain painkillers like brufen, it can result to you having asthma if you take those medications that you're allergic to, because your body would definitely overreact if you take such a medication, and so your body will be responding to that, and it can result in you having an obstruction in your airways, which can lead to you having asthma. So apart from that, exposure to cold air. So we're getting into the cold season, and it will be so cold, so people who have asthma can easily get an asthmatic attack. And if you don't already have asthma, if you don't know that you already have asthma and you become allergic, maybe the cold is too much, and you start having a hyperresponsiveness in your airway, then you might end up getting or having symptoms of asthma. Then the other thing is that people who exercise, so if you exercise, sometimes it can lead to you having an asthmatic attack, especially if you already have asthma. So exercise can trigger asthma, and also people who exposed to cold air, like I have mentioned, can also have asthma. So these are some of the triggers of asthma, and you need to be aware of them and try to protect yourself and prevent yourself from getting an asthmatic attack or from having asthma. The other thing is that in the cold season, usually we have a lot of respiratory conditions or illnesses. So any illness that can affect the respiratory system, especially the upper respiratory system. So it can be a flu, a cold, tonsillitis. All these can also trigger asthma. So it's important that you protect yourself from getting these infections so that you don't have an asthmatic attack. So I do hope you have learned something today. Make sure you share with your friends, and also don't forget to watch again tomorrow when we'll talk about some of the signs and symptoms of asthma, so that you can be able to recognize them and get help at the hospital as quickly as possible. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me on Facebook at Dr. Nakubianamfire, and if you need to watch the other videos, you can watch them on my YouTube channel at Dr. Nakubianamfire. I'll see you again next time. Stay blessed and stay healthy.
Thank you so much for still staying glued to Camnet TV, and much kudos also to Dr. Nakwiana right there, who's just taking us through the triggers of asthma as the topic for today and this entire week. I think it's going to be all about asthma, and the fact that the cold is here, there's need to ensure that we keep ourselves in check, especially when it comes to ensuring that we're warm, ensuring that the temperature is really conducive so that we don't catch a cold, we don't catch that flu, and just make sure that our health really is in check, because your health matters to every country's development, and in particular Zambia. Even as we talk about issues relating to development, this is one thing that we cannot detach rather from the aspect of the economic development vis-a-vis issues relating to the exchange rate. When we look at the international currencies against the local currency, what is happening on this international market, that leads us to the money market segment as we get to look at how the kwacha is performing against major convertibles. We know really concerns have been that there have been fluctuations time and again, but are we seeing that improving? Let's get to look at the money market this morning and see if there's a possibility of change or improvement in favor of the Zambian kwacha. There you have it on your screen. Your United States dollar is buying at 26 kwacha.56 ingwe, selling at 27 kwacha.08 ingwe. The euro is buying at 28 kwacha.83 ingwe and selling at 29 kwacha.40 ingwe. The South African rand is buying at 1 kwacha.5 ingwe and selling at 1 kwacha.48 ingwe. The Great British pound is buying at 33 kwacha.92 ingwe and selling at 34 kwacha.58 ingwe, and the update comes to you courtesy of this morning at exactly 06:57, as the date is the 28th of May 2024, and much talk obviously is going to be placed on the United States dollar that has continued to see some sort of fluctuations and causing havoc on the local currency. Although that we've seen that our time without number, it's been trading between 25 to 27 and some are 28, but now we've seen that the past few weeks there's some sort of reduction that is being noticed to some extent that it was selling at 27.70 ngwe, and we did also look at previous week when it was somewhere closely to hitting 28 kwacha per dollar job. And obviously this also maybe could be one of those issues that we do relate to issues happening on the cost of living, issues relating to what is happening in terms of the country's energy crisis, and also everyone also trying to look for these solutions to ensure that we bring in one or two things and ensure that economic development also is spurred regardless of these challenges, because we know that challenges call for solutions, and challenges will come to those that still believe that there's hope for tomorrow.
Of course, radical decisions need to be made, unpopular decisions need to be made, Nelson, amidst the energy crisis like you are putting into water rationing, the high cost of living, and obviously the effects of the El Nino. As you know, that Zambia experienced a drought recently, so this obviously has got a trickle-down effect on most of our key economic sectors, and we are now seeing and experiencing the effects of El Nino, the drought. However, assurances have been made from those in the corridors of power, and of course we are talking about the key drivers of these particular key sectors in these particular ministries, such as the finance ministry, where the finance minister has said that come December, or by the year, by the end of this year, obviously life will be affordable, and prices of commodities might, according to him, he says, will drop, and we expect to see that change coming forth, and we expect to see that the issues that have to do with the KCM, the meetings that are taking place are concluded, so that the people of Copperbelt begin to enjoy and reap from the benefits of KCM having a new investor in the name of Vedanta, so that the economy on the Copperbelt can be revived or revamped, as it were. But Nelson, an interesting story that we're getting into. Political drama has continued to unfold in the Zambian political space.
Absolutely.
You are aware that an independent member of parliament went missing, and for me, Nelson, yesterday I had questions And number one is, if you're being abducted, can you have time to pin down a note? Can you have time to write a note? Can your abductors allow you to have time to write a note? That's number one. Number two, if you're going to be abducted, Nelson, and you are found after missing for more than 24 hours, surely I expect your boxers, for instance, there are some images that have been floated on the internet where the named member of parliament, he's undressed, he's removed his shirt, his boxer is showing, and the boxer looks very clean. It looks very clean. For me, with a keen eye and a critical eye for news, I feel there has to be an explanation to that. If you are abducted and obviously you didn't change your clothes, we have to, obviously, if you are being kept in circumstances where you are being tortured and all, you have to have bruises. For me, Nelson, being a love of the truth, I looked at those images. And I'm still looking at them even today to establish where the bruises are. Okay, because I want to be convinced that yes, this gentleman was abducted, and these are the bruises that were inflicted on him by his abductors. But we're following this story with keen interest now, sir.
Yes, and we're following this story with a keen interest. But I think for me, one of my takeaways, without taking what you've said, without taking it away, I think one of the thing that we need to start considering now is if such happenings characterize the country, does it mean that the country is at risk when it comes to its security? I think that is one of the questions that I have, because we're talking about an independent member of parliament that was allegedly abducted. Because why am I saying allegedly? Because investigations are still underway, right? And for me, I would really side with the police in this regard. This is a sensitive matter, because when we look at the laws or a crime of abduction, to some extent, it amounts to about maybe 50 years of imprisonment or life imprisonment. So that means that it is a serious crime. In as much as social media has been floated with a lot of analysis from back and forth, I think for me, I would rather wait for the police to conclude their investigation.
I know, and that obviously it's already in public domain, so it leaves us to analyze and debate this particular issue, looking at what is already there, what is already obtaining on the ground, what is already in public domain. We can't be restricted to talk about it because it's already there and we're able to see.
Absolutely.
And members of the public out there and the viewers are relying on us, members of the media, to make sure that we give unbiased, verified, factual information out there. And obviously we need to make sure that in as much as we are analyzing, we are also helping the police in expediting their investigations, because we don't want this case to drag, to take long. We need to know who were the people behind the alleged abduction, number one. Number two, there are some theories that are being thrown out there, Nelson. You are aware that maybe, just maybe, politics being politics and politicians being politicians, this could be, it is a sensitive matter, obviously. Like I said, to us in the media, we need to be brave. It is a juicy story. To the family, it makes sad reading, and we empathize with them. To the police, it brings about, it's a story of interest. And to the politicians, obviously, it opens up speculations, because he's coming from this camp, he's coming from that camp. But at the end of the day, look, if, for instance, the Honorable Member of Parliament is found wanting, you're talking about 50 years abduction, you're talking about years that can be meted upon a person. Now, we also saw another Member of Parliament in the name of Honorable Mnia Zulu, who issued sentiments that are considered to be tribal, hate speech, divisive sentiments, and he is in police custody even as we speak right now. Now, in an event that he is convicted, for instance, in an event that the honorable member of Petauke as well, if investigations point to foul play or a staged management regarding this particular abduction, then they are arrested or convicted. They are convicted rather. This is the implication. It means that if they are given, let's say, 1 year or 6 months or whatever, they stay away from Parliament for a stipulated period of time. It means that their seats will be declared vacant, and there's going to be a by-election. Young parliamentarians, young politicians, I know it's exciting to want to become relevant. It's exciting to listen to the old parliamentarians that have been there. Come on, these are our colleagues, these are our friends. We do have conversations with them.
In the interest of time, I know this is a story that we would want to take our time on and get to dissect. Let's get to look at that story as also
this particular story.
Exactly, as well as that of independent member of parliament for Lumezi and governance activist Brebna Changala being arrested on charges of hate speech, seditious practices. And then we saw later on that the Forum for Democracy and Development FTD president Edith Nawaki charged that the arrest of the two is a diversion from the ongoing investigation into the alleged abduction of the Petauke lawmaker Emmanuel Banda. I think these were stories that were making a lot of rounds. And once we get to look at that story, I know Madam Katendi Wandi, Director of Corporate Communication at the Independent Broadcasting Authority, is in the house to also have breakfast with us and also get to understand what does IBA have for us in terms of ensuring that the country's broadcasting sector gets to improve.
Okay, let's go on that particular story. And on the other side, obviously, we'll be joined by our guest in our first session of the Breakfast Show. We'll be right back.
The disappearance of independent Petauke Central Member of Parliament, Emmanuel JJ Banda, in unclear circumstances for over 35 hours, saw the Court of Public Opinion pass a verdict on the matter with allegations of the government being involved, which authorities refuted. Following his alleged abduction, anxiety was the order of the day as many asked questions without answers, as Mr. Banda's whereabouts were unknown on Saturday and his vehicle was found abandoned with the windscreen shattered in Lusaka's Twin Palm area. But after more than 24 hours of his missing, authorities have found the independent Petauke Central Member of Parliament alive and receiving treatment at Mainasoko Military Hospital. Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security, Jack Mwembu, reveals that the Petauke lawmaker was found in Kafue and the government has taken over his protection while assuring that his condition is stable.
I had to inform the nation that Honorable JJ Banda is safe and is alive. He is currently at Mainasoko Military Hospital undergoing medical checkups. I want to inform the nation that it is important that our colleague is in a safe environment until we thoroughly investigate the matter.
Mr. Mwimbu has expressed displeasure at the remarks made by a Lumezi Member of Parliament, Munia Zulu. The minister also cautioned Zambians to desist from issuing inciting statements which suggest division and hate in the country.
This country is resided by so many people. Any Zambian or other nationalities are free to reside anywhere in this country. Now, if we are going to be making statements which are targeting people who are residing in certain areas who don't hail from there, it's very unfortunate.
Meanwhile, some political players have added their voices with the need to ensure the country remains peaceful in line with the country's motto.
Even just questioned, let alone interrogated, yet there are obvious people who should be people of interest, who should be prime suspects, but none of that has happened.
The province region or northern region, in this case you're talking Kabwe, going up north in Wapula, Copper Belt, people are arrested. That is not right. So as government, I feel my appeal is that you need to tone down so that you bring everybody on board. Let's love one another like where we're coming from. Our forefathers fought for this. and they didn't fight. When they said freedom, the freedom meant that we must live in harmony.
But the sister to the parliamentarian questions the statement of the Minister of Home Affairs challenging the government to discharge Mr. Banda if indeed his condition is stable.
How is he okay? Is it because he's a strong person that he's even able to talk? So how is he fine? How is he okay? If he's okay, give him to us. Release him to the public. Let the public see him that he's okay. Personally, from the time he even went into Menasoka, I haven't been allowed to see him.
As the case unfolds, police have vowed to thoroughly investigate the matter as investigations continue to ascertain who is behind the alleged abduction. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Zambia Police Service wishes to inform the public of the detention of Honorable Monia Zulu and Bredna Changala. Honorable Monia Zulu has been detained for an alleged offense of hate speech. This action follows an investigation into statements made by Honorable Zulu that are deemed to incite hatred and division amongst various groupings in our society. Hate speech is a serious offense that undermines national unity and peace, and the Zambia Police Service remains committed to upholding the law and ensuring that such actions are addressed appropriately. Additionally, Mr. Bredna Changala has been detained for the alleged offense of seditious practices. This follows evidence gathered indicating that Mr. Changala engaged in activities intended to incite rebellion against the authority of the state. Seditious practices pose a significant threat to national security and public order, and the Zambia Police Service will take all necessary measures to prevent such actions and maintain stability in our nation. Both accused persons, Honorable Monia Zulu and Mr. Bredna Changala, are currently in police custody. They will appear in court soon to face the respective charges brought against them. The Zambia Police Service urges the public to remain calm and refrain from making speculative statements that could exacerbate tensions. We are dedicated to conducting our duties with fairness and integrity, ensuring that justice is served.
We should be concentrating on the police and the minister and the government should be concentrating on getting information and what happened to the victim instead of trying to fish out. They should be issued a report that this is what we found out. But out of this report, we are also going to call so and so, maybe they have other information. But you don't start charging us with fictitious charges and arresting. But that's selective application of the law. Selective application of the law. I've been to that police headquarters several times. The police send a call out. I respect them, I go there. I never thought that Cosway would be a spokesperson for the policemen who have called me. Which means that someone in State House is pulling the plugs. That's all. I mean, they're showing it. The handwriting is all over it. They're showing it. Why do they want to silence the dissenting voices? And I'm calling upon His Excellency High Commissioner Nick Wooley. These are abuses which, if they were done in another republic, they will be running around. No, Zambia is abusing human rights. But they are best defended in government and are sweeping this in under the carpet. I'm calling upon the American ambassador to Zambia. Look at this ugly chapter. What are you saying?
Okay, thank you so much for still joining us. Now, obviously, those are some of the stories in our Zooming headlines. We'll continue showing you these particular stories, and obviously, we'll be waiting for you, our viewers, to come through and give us your submissions via our Facebook page. That's Camnet TV. Please, if you haven't yet liked it, search for it, like it, and be sure to leave a comment. But for now, we are joined by Madam Katendi Wandi. She is the Director Corporate Communication at Independent Broadcasting Authority, IBA. So right now I can safely say that we do have our bosses in the house, the IBA. Madam, good to see you and welcome.
Thank you very much. Good morning, and good morning to our viewers.
Okay, fantastic. Good to have you here. Nelson?
Good to have you here, indeed. We know that you are the bosses. We need to put that hat, because it belongs there.
We are all stakeholders.
Exactly.
IBA would not be here without the TV or radio stations out there, and radio stations and TV stations out there also need IBA to be in existence.
We know your mandate really has been to ensure that you manage or maybe regulate the affairs of the broadcasting sector here in Zambia. Let's talk about radio, TV, and all these other issues. That is what IBA is known for ensuring that professionalism as well as ethical guidelines are the center stage of whatsoever that we do, we that are in the broadcasting sector. Let's get to look at some of your works in relation to consumer protection. How is IBA really looking at this aspect?
Thank you very much. So one of our functions as the Independent Broadcasting Authority is we receive complaints from members of the public against radio or television station content. So apart from receiving those complaints, we also investigate and decide on complaints. So this is under the consumer rights and protection work that we do as IBA. So if members of the public have a complaint against a radio or TV station, for instance, even against Camnet TV, if you are not happy with what Camnet TV has aired, then you have the right as a member of the public to complain, first of all, to Camnet TV over that content that you are not happy about. And according to the law, that is the IBA Act of 2002, Camnet TV has 14 days in which to respond or address that complaint. And if they don't respond to you within 14 days, or they do but you consider that response inadequate, then you have the right as a member of the public to escalate your complaint to the IBA. So, and when escalating the complaint to IBA, you should remember that this complaint should be done within 3 months of the broadcast, because by law, as you may be aware, every radio and TV station is required to store content that it's airing out there for a period of 3 months. So if you complain after the 3 months period, then the broadcasting station may not attend to your complaint. So in that regard, that's how we make sure that we are also there for the members of the public in terms of the content that is being churned out.
So, Madam Katendi, you are indicating here that even our consumers out there, which is the audience, have got the right to penalize us or report us if they did see that we aired something. So with some sort of evidence, obviously, that this is what was aired. And
yes, of course, when they make that complaint, they are going to state the time of the broadcast, who the presenter was, and exactly what was said or aired that aggrieved them. So that is part of what they will put down in writing as they complain first to the TV or radio station, and then after 14 days, if they are not satisfied, escalate the complaint to the IBA.
Okay, now let's get to look at, I know for me, most of the times, I don't know if it's because of my age that I'm a youth, I see most of these meetings, I'll be attending a particular meeting with the ZMBC, maybe a board of directors, I'll be at the Ministry of Information and Media, the other time it's a workshop. We've seen all these pop-up on various social media platforms. And they point to one thing, that there's some reforms that are being undertaken within the Independent Broadcasting Authority. Now, let's get to look at some of these reforms that you are implementing with regards to the broadcasting sector as IBA.
Thank you very much. A lot has been happening at the IBA actually. As you may be aware, recently the board announced the appointment of our Director General, Mr. Kuntela Mlea, and following his appointment we have embarked on a number of activities within the authority. For instance, now we are focusing on digitalizing our procedures and processes within the IBA. You know that a number of public institutions, actually, their services are already online. So members of the public are ready or are able to access public services online. And so IBA is also going that direction, so that we're able to have our procedures accessible online by members of the public. So that's one activity that has kept us busy at the authority. We have also enhanced our stakeholder engagements, like you noticed. We know that in doing so, we are able to, interact more with our stakeholders within the sector, and this is also in line with our mandate to develop the broadcasting industry in Zambia. And we believe that by these interactions and stakeholder engagements, we are contributing to an even more enabling regulatory environment within our country.
Now, Director, just on those changes, should maybe media houses or broadcasting houses begin to worry that why are these reforms now being undertaken? What is the motive? Is it that they've observed something, and why now instead of maybe the previous years? Why did it happen in such a manner?
There is absolutely no need to worry. You know that in line with government's momentum of digitalizing a number of services for public institutions, IBA is also just following suit. I mean, wouldn't it be easier for you to access IBA procedures online than come all the way to the Independent Broadcasting Authority offices to just, for instance, look for a form, an application form, or when you can, fill in or do some of these procedures online. So that is what we want to do. We want to improve the information flow between ourselves and members of the public.
Okay, and finally, Madam Wandi, what do you believe the pressing challenges facing the broadcasting industry in Zambia?
Yeah, thank you very much. Right now, I would say load shedding. Our licensees, radio and TV stations, are also being affected by load shedding. And load shedding is not only affecting us here in Zambia, a number of countries also are being affected by load shedding. So I would say that is one of the challenges. But also I wish to just encourage our licensees that, in line with government's call to citizens and also corporates to consider investing in solar energy as an alternative source of energy. So that work continues with our licenses. Another one would be the cost of equipment. Broadcasting equipment can be quite high, but in this regard, I also want to just encourage radio and television stations to take advantage of government suspension of customs duty on broadcasting equipment, to import broadcasting equipment, especially for those radio and TV stations that are just setting up, or indeed even for those stations that are already in existence but want to upgrade their broadcasting equipment. They can take advantage of this incentive that has been offered to upgrade their equipment. Okay.
Madam Katendi, before we let you go, your final words to the viewers out there, and obviously to us, your clients.
Your clients and would-be clients.
And would-be clients.
In case Joe and myself think of maybe opening our own entity and line with broadcasting.
What should we do?
Yes, so first of all, to the members of the public, it's just, the IBA is here for you. Please follow our page, IBA Independent Broadcasting Authority Zambia Facebook page, to learn more about what we are doing and the things that are happening at the authority. So do follow our page, and remember, if you have a complaint against any radio or TV station, please do not shy away. Make sure that you do exercise that right that you have to complain, first to the TV or radio station, and then after 14 days, if you are not being attended to, then escalate your complaint to the authority. And then for those that are interested in setting up radio TV stations, such as yourself, Joe and Nelson, please feel free, to visit our website or get in touch with us at the authority, and so that you know the requirements and the procedures of setting up these stations, so that when the time comes, when the authority places an advert that there are frequencies available in such areas for you to set up stations, then you will be ready to put in your application.
Okay, fantastic. That information is handy at this particular moment.
Absolutely.
But we thank you so much, Madam Katendi Wandi, for coming through, obviously early in the morning, to come and share the aspirations and the works that IBA is currently doing. We appreciate you. Hope this is not the last time.
Thank you very much for according us this opportunity, Camnet TV, and we certainly would take up another invitation,
Please.
To come back and speak a little bit more about our work. So thank you so much.
And I'm pretty much sure you just had to abandon your breakfast, just have breakfast with us.
Yes, I needed to have breakfast with you.
You will. Thank you so much for having breakfast with us. That is Madam Katendi Wandi, Director Corporate Communication at the Independent Broadcasting Authority, just talking about some of the reforms that are being undertaken by the Independent Broadcasting Authority, the regulators, obviously, when it comes to the broadcasting sector in Zambia, and all those questions that might linger and why reforms now. And I'm sure she's attested to the fact that there's nothing to worry about. Everything is in check, and IBA is here to ensure that the consumers, as well as we, the clients, and other stakeholders are protected. Even as we get to give a chance to obviously attend to other things, let's get to look at a story coming all the way from Mongu, where some residents have bemoaned the water crisis situation, prompting them to seek answers from the Western Water Supply and Sanitation Company. We know Musiebo Kavila, all the way from Mongu, was on ground to actually give us some of the information pertaining to this situation. Keep it on comment.
Remained the most critical in Mungu district of Western Province, as TAP never had water for the past 2 weeks, and most Mungu residents in the district are facing hardship to access water. The residents are calling on Western Water Supply and Sanitation Company to explain the current water crisis, despite committing to supply water at 100% capacity by October 2023.
Kwansize lisunda zeta kusina mezi twe butata kibufi lusero ashama water kuya kwa mkulo kuya kwa maboho kuyokupa mezi pirayo emu yenani yabube kikwine olifile mashirengi kwa lipopize zencha kolonika chekule lipompiza waluliboni
batu bafumane mezi kali bakazabona ko bali fezi kolonika chekule hakuna wale Mungu pulo kiufi hai bakukona hali abakushima mashirengi agati
mezi arunwa mezi azwa kuma boho kololi faza ndinza kuonganga madramu dramu elimu 15 kwacha cheleta bayo kietu naho mi ayirupishande.
The residents have expressed their challenges of long distances to access water from those with boreholes at a fee of 15 kwacha per drum.
Lipompize muza likukwaliwanga kale kale bakensa kutokwa mezi likota zono luchezi kafera zama na maore njini ze mukafera maucha dikafera au mire lupira kukamezi kwa maboho abatu bolu yahire nibona buka ofi mungo muwa mezi luka 15 kwacha kupo yaruna kwa muso kikuli ba muso balutuse balufemezi kabungata balwezeze kubona kuli kakuli mezi kona bupiro na muso mulutali meluna kwa nuluzierehire mulufemezi.
Meanwhile, Western Water Supply and Sanitation Company Managing Director, Engineer Dr. Kavika Mufalo, gave the instruction in his position.
According to the schedule, we should have already completed the works, just as we had indicated. But I think the main thrust to these delayment has been the Kasima well field. As you might be aware that we had a standoff there. There was an injunction on the works. Subsequently, everything else had to halt. But as we are speaking, as of about 2 weeks ago, that issue was amicably resolved, and the contractor is getting back on site. We should be able to move very fast, and in the next 1 month, we definitely see quite a lot of activity and also ultimate commissioning of the Kasima well field.
Western Water Supply and Sanitation Company is currently implementing a water recirculation project under the Small Towns Water Supply and Sanitation Project, which was supposed to be operational by October 2023. Musiebo Kavira, Camnet News in Mungu District, Western Province.
Okay, sendisebo ya mikira gati bakamwala South Health Post chamene chipempa ise chakutumtise kulira chipatala leba waje msanga kuti bazimayi batandizika azi community kuno yakukamwala South
ise tufuna kuti asongolere asisegulire clinic yakuno kuti bantu akazipapira apa paleta wati namanzi pano penzeri manzi so sitenze kubwera kuno.
As area councillor for Kamwala Ward 5, I've just come to Kamwala South Post to ensure to say that the project you're seeing behind me, the construction of maternity wing, is completed. The council through the CDF has released 400,000 for the completion of this maternity wing, and we hope that it will be done in about 2 months. So I just came to do physical inspection works to ensure to say that works have started, and I'm happy that right now the soccer way is being worked on. And as you can see, this terrain is very, very rocky. So the contractor will also have to clear the rocky area, break it apart, so that it can be nicely paved. Our mothers in this particular area and beyond are being very expectant of this maternity wing, and we are hoping that it can be completed in the soonest possible time.
Okay, thank you so much for still joining us. I can see my eyes are watery there. Nothing sinister, dear viewers. It just implies that I am alive. However, thank you so much for still joining us this particular morning as we wait to get into the next session of our interview, where we're going to have ANDD, or Advocates for National Development and Democracy Executive Director, Mr. Samuel Banda, to come and speak to matters of national development, but obviously bordering on national interest. And if you saw those particular stories coming from Kamwala South and Kamwala Clinic there, I know, and the other one that came from Western Province. The other one that we aired obviously has to do with the independent member of parliament for Petaoke constituency, Uka chairperson, Mr. Sakwiva Skota, Leonard Council there, and obviously opposition FDD leader and president, Madam Edith Nawakwe, and also police spokesperson, Mr. Ray Hamonga, in that particular clip that we earlier showed you. Nelson, we are receiving calls on the numbers that are displayed on your TV screen. Please come through so that we can be able to interact on this particular platform. Nelson, yes, in our first story, we have seen the text messages that have come through, and some of our viewers are asking that why, for instance, his jean trousers, his lower pants, why were they not sold? Why were they not dirty? Why didn't they have cake date on them to signify that this person was in a state that was uncompromising? And these are some of the questions that members of the public are asking, Nelson.
And others argue also to say maybe it was some sort of abduction that was of a different level, where you're being threatened, but
Promax abduction.
Promax abduction, if I to put it that way. You're being abducted, but you're being massaged in some certain way, where yes, you're missing, but maybe it's just concealing you, that you are not even aware of what is happening.
But Nelson, again, all in it all, this particular case, if for instance the police established, like our able men and women in uniform, including the Minister of Home Affairs himself, well-able minister, they are saying they are carrying out investigations, right? They are conducting investigations, and at an opportune time, they will be able to give us, the press, the Fourth Estate, and the general public, what they have, what they will establish, right?
Yes.
In an event that we discover that yes, the member of parliament was genuinely abducted by unscrupulous people, okay, criminal elements, yes, right? It's unfortunate because he is a public figure, he is a politician, he is an independent member of parliament, and obviously this will send shivers into other members of parliament. But then over the weekend, his fellow members of parliament, those that are his friends, were calling on this particular administration to release him. So I don't know what the connection is. I'm trying to understand how politicians operate. They were calling on this particular administration to release him, give us our brother, give us our our friend, give us our fellow member of parliament. And for me, using a critical eye, Nelson, I'll still come back. Something just doesn't add up. Okay? Something just doesn't add up on this particular matter. Yes, it's in the hands of the police. Yes, we are allowing it. We are allowing the police to conduct their investigations. But it is an issue that is the public domain. The minister yesterday advised that we should give the honorable member his privacy. But before we could even hit 18 hours or 6 in the PM, we saw images of him being flashed on social media by his family.
Exactly.
You get my point.
And now, wondering if what is really the status? Because one of the concern genuinely would be if it is indeed proven that it was a genuine abduction. Does it send shivers that our country's security system is porous? Does it also entail that you and I, Joe, are not safe? And in an event that it is proven that it was allegedly staged, does it also indicate that the level of politics in Zambia is that is not issue-based? It is that politics that is not concerned about the citizen out there in terms of what happens to them. Because there are a lot of questions more than answers to this issue.
There are a lot of questions now. So, yeah.
Because I also did take time to look at one of the interviews that was done by one of the media houses for the alleged eyewitness that did come to the rescue of the independent lawmaker that is in Kafue at one of the farms where he was spotted by the police. The interview, to some extent, for me, it felt like there's some information that were lagging, and we saw a lot of also concern coming through from the family who had a press conference that were saying there were a lot of bruises. But from my end, when I looked at those pictures that were circulated, obviously by the family, after Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security did take charge at Maina Soko, a military hospital after.
Maybe Nelson, not to cut you short, my brother, maybe we need another definition of a bruise or bruises. Maybe we need another definition, because look, the minister in his wisdom and him being a leader did advise, let's give the gentleman privacy. Let us not talk about this issue, blowing out of context. Let's leave it there as it is, because we're giving him security and privacy. We don't want people to be visiting anyhow, so restriction will be there. Then you see images that are not so convincing, Nelson, being flashed on the internet, and they are all over, they go viral. And now you're wondering, look, if you talk about bruises, are these what they call bruises? I'm taken aback. Maybe I need a new definition. If you saw those images yourself, please come through and let us know what you think about those bruises. Those, I don't know whether to say bruises, but let us not abuse English terms here.
And also, alleged bruises, I think that would be the right term to put
it. Then again, Nelson, if you're going to be abducted, are your abductors going to give you time to write a note? Because obviously you are not expecting to be abducted. Are your abductors going to give you time to pin down a note, properly written handwriting? You leave it in your vehicle. And that gentleman who was interviewed by our colleagues from different media houses, private media house and the public media house, I'm talking about Daily Mail and obviously our colleague Darius. Look, that guy, for me, he wanted to act as though he doesn't understand what he was talking about. Yeah? For me, I feel he wanted to act as if he doesn't understand what he was talking about. Like, if I express myself in English, I'm not too fluent, let me use the local language. But then again, he sounded as though he's not fluent. Look, no, he actually told me to say, give me your number. Let me give you the number to my wife. Then you call her. Then the wife said, no, he's an honorable member of parliament. Look, it's getting cold nowadays. we were told that he was found with no clothes on. Okay? According to that gentleman who was on the scene. And he had locked himself in, and he called the friend from the neighbor's house to say, there's a man here, but for you to come out from there, that's when I also come out. But this man, he's still outside. So he's given me a number. I've called the wife, and the wife she's on her way coming in. What's the distance? If the wife is that one from Kamwala South, or from is it Minwood? What's the distance from here to Kafio? Can somebody without a shirt on after past midnight in a state that you were saying that he was, after midnight, Nelson, sit outside with this coat? So those are some of the answers. Those are some of the questions which needs answers. And that gentleman, obviously, even the police should, for me, I think, for us to reach closure to this particular issue, the police should bring in that boy and question him, because this is an honorable member of parliament. He represents a constituency. His life was endangered. We need to know the people that are behind this particular heinous criminal activity that took place on an honorable member. He is a brother, he is an uncle, he is a husband. So we need to know. We need to know, Nelson.
We need to know, definitely, and we're throwing it to you, our viewers, wherever you're watching us from, be it YouTube, as well as Facebook, GoTV channel 25, as well as DSTV channel 274. Give us that phone call on the number 097316 7840. That is 097316 7840, and we'll be glad to hear from you in terms of what you think about this particular story, where an honorable member of parliament for Petauke Central in Emmanuel JJ Banda allegedly went missing for over 35 hours. We're talking about 3 days or so, and later on was found by the police in Kafue town, that is part of Lusaka province. And if you ask me, a lot of questions also have popped up in terms of how did he find himself in Kafue, although
who took him there?
Versions do suggest that, or allege that he was actually dumped there, but who dumped him? I've also seen a lot of comments being provided by social media commentators to say the Kafue Road, I think, is one of those roads that we do have security that is powered up 24/7. Are we able to trace in terms of knowing which vehicle was really carrying the honorable member of parliament, and then later on
don't we have the Shimabala toll gate?
We do have the Shimabala.
It has got cameras. Can the law enforcement agencies
let's get to pick this call. Let's get to pick this
look
call,
for that
Joe.
footage.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Hi.
Fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
You're live to Camnet TV, your contribution.
My contribution is that I think that was very worrying to have our brother being adopted. I'm James calling you from Kush. And I'm sure there is an invisible hand in his abduction. We need, as citizens, because we are living now in limbo. We don't know our being, how we are going to be, because if we can have that honorable being done in that way, I think it was very, very worrying. And we need also to aid those that are concerned to go down to the root and see who could have to find some sort of people who could have been behind this, because it is very worrying, to tell you the truth. Thank you very much. And that's why we say democracy is now it's not all that good, because we are not free, and of course we are not seeing a good light at the end of the tunnel of the way Zambians are going to be. Arrests too much now, interference and so forth, and all those warnings from the ruling party, they are not good in fact. They are raising a lot of fibroids. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. James, all the way from Mukushi, for giving us that perspective of yours. You too, if you are a viewer that is watching us this morning, you can definitely come through on our Airtel line. We do sincerely apologize. Our MTN line is down at the moment. You can actually get those calls on the number 0973 16 7840. And we'll be glad to hear from you and give you that chance to give us your perspective in terms of what you think. Let's get to pick this call. Good morning. We've lost that caller. I think let's continue picking. Let those calls be coming. Let those calls be coming rather, and ensure that we also get to understand your version of how you understand the entire ordeal.
I was asking regarding this particular ordeal because it is a trending story, and obviously whatever is happening right now is connected to this particular story. Honorable Munia Zulu has been he's still detained at Central Police. He issued divisive remarks because of this particular happening. So whatever is happening is connected to this particular story, Nelson. But my question is, Shmabala, we do have a target there, a toll plaza there, and it has got cameras. Can the cameras be monitored so that we can extract footage from there and establish which vehicle passed? At what particular time did this vehicle pass? And you know, let me tell you something about those cameras.
Let's get to pick this call. Good morning. Good morning. Your line is really bad. We're having feedback.
Reduce volume on your TV set.
Are you able to reduce some volume on your TV set? Hello?
We can get to it.
But it's very difficult for us to get through to you. Are you able to turn down the volume on a TV set, or if you're using ear sets, actually remove them? It's really difficult for us to get through. Okay. Make sure that when you give us that phone call, make sure that we get to have a proper engagement. Make sure that you turn down the volume on your TV set, as well as ensuring that if you're using earsets, please avoid them, because we do have a number of the connections that do interplay when it comes to these calls. So make sure that you have all those things in check. Joe, you're just about to make a thought.
Oh, the high-tech, there are high-tech cameras that are out there. So obviously, if somebody is driving a vehicle, approaches those cameras. I'm not saying that's how the cameras at Shmabala Toll Plaza are, but I'm just saying the way high-tech cameras operate. If you are in a certain mood, it will be able to detect that tense mood, he's nervous or suspicious. You know what I mean? So footage needs to be reviewed.
Let's get to bit. We've lost that call again, but I think for me also my area of concern on this particular case is that there's some certain way of how politics in Zambia is actually
becoming toxic.
Exactly, becoming toxic, because various observations have been made. We saw at the time this honorable member of parliament went missing. Various conceptions were held. Hello, good morning. Good morning. Hello. Tom Cafe wina mwashuken. Ishina tubalia banani. It seems we'll also continue to have challenges getting through to that caller, but one of the submissions that she did indicate was the fact that this is some sort of a foreign or an alien thing to Zambia, especially given the current situation that we have in the country. Let's get to pick this call. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning to you. How are you today?
Very well, thank you. Your name and where are you calling us from?
My name is Emmanuel Miti. I'm calling from Mufrida.
Mr. Miti, go ahead with your contribution.
Yes, my contribution, it's quite worrisome to hear things like abduction being happening in our country, because these things are very strange to us. They normally happen in the Western world, the developed countries, but now we are seeing them happening in the third world. What I want to contribute on this program, as Zambians, the way we are drifting or the way we are conducting ourselves, it's like we like speculation. We like to speculate. Whenever something happens, we always speculate. We don't want to leave the law enforcement agencies to do their work professionally, then come up with a report, and that's when we can comment. But right now, there is a lot of talk all over the country with different views, mixed feelings, this and that. Now, how do you expect the law enforcement agencies to come up with a professional report? Because whatever report that will be presented, there is this group which is anti, and there is this group which is for. So you find that whatever will be given will not be taken, because already we are divided. So what we need to do as Zambians, let us be patient. Let us leave the law to take its course, so that we see, when we see that there is some kind of biasness in the way things are handled, that's when we can comment, but not as of now. It's too early. Leave it to the law enforcement agencies to do their work professionally. When they fail, that's when we can start now blaming them. I thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Emmanuel Miti, all the way from Mufulira. It's good that you are locked on this morning. Two submissions for me that also took my attention from this Mr. Miti. But even as I get to chip in, phone is buzzing. Let's get to pick this call. Good morning. Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
Fine, fine. This is Kaishara Victor calling in Chingola.
Mr. Victor, go ahead with your contribution all the way from Chingola.
Mkwai ine nararanda kuchibemba.
Kuti mwalanda tata.
Mkwai twatotera mkwai. Hii problemu yaba JJ Banda.
Mkwai.
Uro muntu ni MP. Then aba mu government. Problemu ile bapo abantu baresenda fi amashuyi yakwe bati kwambo kuyisonta sonta. That's why if you talk about the government, it's a talk about the government, but the problem wa police wa fuire ba taking action no ku konko murandu. If you fuire fe to abazi no kumfwa, if you randa wa police nangwa according if wara konko murandu no fo wara sango murandu. Number problem we ripo apavare wa opposition ya ori government eba fuire ba chitefi. Kwali ba muntu na kwatari ndi problem yako bati ya family fe kumwa kwa coding ndi mu business mushani firafile kutifya senda bamu ikata ayene ni problem iyo yayibera nomba abantu baretse fe tawishibe uretse fe uresonta fe muno be minwate uye urengere tefo chifiro kuba tufire twarekera ba government babombe ichito yawe twatotera mkwai mubombe bwi
twatotera ba Victor.
That's Mr. Victor Kanshala. I've gotten something from him. He's talking about finger pointing. It reminds me of a book known as Accusing Finger.
Accusing Finger, yes.
Yeah.
I've come across that book as well. And It is one of my submissions that I also wanted to make. That I don't know if we're going to make these submissions, Joe, at this time. I'm afraid because our audience there got the age to communicate.
No. We need to allow them. We need to allow them to come.
Please. Good morning. You're through to the Camnet TV Breakfast Show. Your name and where you're calling us from?
Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Yes, we are speaking to Mr. Ankanga.
Yes, Mr. Kanga.
Yes, Ankanga from Mumbwa.
Mkwai Hanganga from Mumbai. Go ahead with your contribution.
Yes.
Just kindly reduce volume on your TV set, Mr. Hankanga.
The problem I made.
Turn down volume on your TV set.
Problem I made to the Zambia. Niakote every government airboy up on every government airboy was among our police in the support by the government.
Mr. Hankanga, just reduce volume.
Then what is happening for the
Bozankon volume, he wants to be listening to himself. Bozankon volume ku TV.
Ku TV?
Bozankon volume.
And then manyam.
Okay. Yes. Then that's why Chone Kamanje, Monga police is very active. He was very active with Fuka Chakoti. Pamena ina ambira issue, wamena nachita report ni ndani. Then uja muntu sibakamba kuti bamulete bamufunze. Futi apeze kamuntu ku bridge, futi sibamugwira uja muntu kuti bamufunze ma question yakuti anapeze kabwanje. So that tubapeze manje pamene bazambira. So kufikana lero manje ndichionesa monga ba police sibali active. So temponi yakuti ba police ba profession, let do the profession work so that bantu baone kuti akuchoka pa issue yaija. I think twashitako investigate verso na so. But tuli nayo kuli ba police ni yakuti balalemba chereta. Then later until now is later kulibe vivi chitika who wrote that letter and later what next. So ndicho neka monga ba police sibachita nchito ya mene wafuniko chita. That is my contribution, sir.
Okay. Mr. Ankanga, I agree with him totally.
Yes.
That guy who was being interviewed by our colleague in the media, Sharon, and our other colleague, Darius, why isn't he in police custody? To explain how he found the honorable member at that particular scene.
Let's get to pick this call, Joe.
I agree.
Good morning,
Mr. Hankanga.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Thank you so much. Please reduce the volume on your TV set as you get to make your submission and tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
I'm Mwangala from Kabwe.
Mr. Mwangala, go ahead with your contribution this morning.
I just want to contribute something which I found to be a problem in our country. The problem is that we are too much conclusive. Whenever the matter is out there, before it is even disposed of, we've already concluded. If I'm to pick the matter on the Mr. Changala, Changala seems to be too vocal, even when the things are not yet exposed. I'll take you back. In the times of the death of Tutwanguluwe, there were some sentiments which were issued out even before the investigations could be concluded. PF and Mr. Changala, sentiments which they started throwing out of accusing the current government, it seemed to be like they were very sure of what they were saying. But after the matter is, I mean, the issue was I mean, I don't know whether it is, I would say, concluded. They never came out again to say, oh, we are sorry or what. They don't apologize in short. This is what I would say. So
as for me, I would say these are the people that are bringing confusion. If I am to talk of Munia Zuru was there with the elderly people, lawyers and alike. These lawyers were just there trying to listen to him, even when he was throwing things which they know to say. These will bring confusions in our country. You see, so those people are the people who are supposed to turn him down, to say what you are trying to bring out. Those are the things that will bring confusions in our country, and this is what we don't want. We are a peaceful nation, and we have been peaceful for a long time. So why should we start now segregating ourselves this time? You see? So this is my contribution.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. And your contribution is valid. I think those were some of the concerns, really genuine concerns. And for me also, that is one of the concerns that I have. If you are a member of parliament, if you are a public officer, there's just need to ensure that we protect the One Zambia, One Nation motto. Because you cannot just go on rampage and begin to issue inflammatory statements. Because look, what we do has got the power to set or lit this country on fire, which is not the case, because our freedom fighters, our forefathers fought for the peace and the independence that is being enjoyed in this country. And one thing also that I would like, that I've observed from this situation, is that the country is politically charged. Joe.
It is politically charged because we've allowed politicians to direct the narrative, and it's incumbent upon this particular administration of the UPND to set an agenda for the country. When I wake up on Monday, I should be able to know what I should focus on, because the UPND in government have already set the tone for the week. What am I talking about? Look, the opposition political parties are on rampage, accusing the UPND of abducting, for instance, the honorable member, and also peddling a narrative out there of tribal remarks.
Let's get to this call. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Your contribution and where you're calling us from?
Within Lusaka.
Your contribution, please.
I'm JT Chiluba.
Okay.
I think for the security reasons, all tinted cars must take those plastic ones.
Fantastic.
Because, as the presenter was saying, on target, they could have seen that our honorable Banda. But you find all the cars, they are tinted. I think the police officers should come in, because the criminals, they hide in those vehicles with tinted vehicles. I think that's the only thing I may contribute. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chiluba, for taking time to ask and give us that perspective as well. I
totally agree.
I think it makes a good point. Yes.
So, I want to agree with Mr. Hankang. I think he brought out, our callers have brought out valid points.
Yes, but you may have to hold that horse. Good morning. Good morning.
Morning. How are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you? Your name and where you're calling us from?
I'm calling from Frila. I'm Chikonde.
Mr. Chikonde, go ahead with your contribution this morning.
Okay, sir. My contribution on this matter is that what happened in our country is not fair, because the way I look things, why is it that abantu abale umfika sana nango abalelanda sana pamulandu wakutila ifintu fibe bwino evantu bamo abambo kulasangwa ma problems. I can mention some of the name, not all. For example, Chimba Kambwili, Mwamba, and the Munduvile. All those people, abalelanda sana, bonsaba, they are quiet. But ngamwanonesha fiancefi,
the police epo bali bafwire n'okubomba fyonse, but they are quiet. No, but the problem is the police are the problem ni government in because government yali shitaba police eiba bomfya. So mulesa sango kwati ba police instead ya kwati babombe nchito yabo nabo bene mulisi ya kwati nga babomba ifili exactly ni nshi cyaba bipira. So ba police bafwire babombe nchito yabo babafumye kuri government bare ibombera bene not if bare ba controller because muko ba controller echiretere confusion ya abantu nomba bambo kula chita blame ba police. So a problem ilipo ero kumyoto kasha government nde supporta bakola abo bafuma ko ishina myoto kasha government esho bafumye kwa matinted shonse shibe open even na kuri president wine because na abafisa mabonse musho barechita fyonse but kuri bambyo ko bareko so nishine shabena Jack Mumbule once bafumye ko shibe clear tureba munero barepita na pama target ponse not ukupokasi abantu kwena bafumye kwa matinted benisha abo ishare it's not fair. So the police they have got a problem ni government ile batima mukuchitefyo epona chafa ndande kuyape
totela wachikonde
supporting or in line with what our caller Mr. Chuluba said. I think I agree totally. We need to remove those tint windows, windscreens, so that we're able to see who's driving that particular vehicle.
What is happening? Yeah, because
we need to
also
know.
This reminds me of a case that is before court, which I won't delve much into the major details of it, but it involves a police officer that was allegedly involved or believed to have defiled a minor in a car. So obviously the windows were tinted, and that led to the
gentleman from Skanzi.
Exactly, to the crime happening. I'm sure these are issues that are in public domain, and these are issues that people have heard of. So definitely, I'll end there to say the proposal to actually have transparent windows, especially for the various vehicles, could be
public service vehicles, especially
public service vehicles,
yes.
especially.
And like the caller is saying, even the president when he's in that vehicle, we need to see him.
That one might be beyond us, Joe.
He's our president.
I'm afraid that one
we need to see that he's seated comfortably. There's our president.
I'm afraid that might be too difficult.
We can make it bulletproof. We can make it bulletproof, but it has to be transparent. Come on now. We need to see our president. But then again, Nelson, I agree with Mr. Chuluba why he says yes. This is the reason why they are targets. So we need transparent windows. We don't need tinted windscreens and the like. But then again, Nelson, the police is being blamed. Why? Who discovered that vehicle at Ibex at Twin Palm Road? That person should be in custody. Should help the police with the investigations. The person that also discovered the Honorable Member of Parliament to say, no, Bezwan Tumina Foni at I'm not a criminal, so call my wife. Then I called the wife. I waited for the wife to come all the way from Lusaka to drive to Kafio. Then who came first between the wife and the police? No, they all came together. Who informed the police? I'm not too sure. Scant information coming through. That young man needs to be taken into police custody, sat on a chair, questioned thoroughly so that he can be able to explain who abducted our Honorable Member of Parliament.
Let's get to pick this call. Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning. Your name and where are you calling us from?
Calling from Inlunga. Is that Camnet?
Definitely.
Yes.
Okay. The issue of the Mnia Zulu.
Your name? Your name?
You are talking to Kasongo.
Okay. Mr. Kasongo. How is Minilunga?
Minilunga is good.
Go ahead with your contribution.
Yes, and I'm watching. You look so special.
Thank you.
Thank you. They are saying to say the tinted glasses, the tinted have to be removed from presidential vehicles and other government workers. It's not advisable because the tinted does its own work. There are things that we need to keep private. So the one who discovered the tinted, yes. So the tinted for government workers must continue to be there. And this issue, as we are discussing it, I think my advice is it's better maybe today, let it be the last day to discuss it, not until the police investigates it, the anti-corruption and all those that must do the work, so that we see. Then after that, people will be given some time to talk about it, because it's some other people be speaking things which may alarm which may endanger our country. You know, as we discuss on TV, radio, and so on, other countries are listening. Yes, so we need to be very careful. We may endanger even our country to other nations. So this is my advice.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kasongo. We do appreciate your coming through. And
very true. In fact, politicians as well. Mostly politicians, because other countries are listening, and we've got a reputation to protect as a country out there. So politicians should be very careful what they say when they go live on social media, because other countries might pick it up and take advantage. Like what Mr. Kasongo said.
Let's pick this call. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, morning, sir. How are you?
Good, thank you. Your name and where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from Kush. I'm Benjamin.
Mr. Benjamin, go ahead with your contribution this morning.
Yes, what I've seen in Zambia right now, the peace that we want, I think we can't receive. The problem is that every government in Isako, for last year, we had a problem with capitalism. Capitalism we are for supermarket, but in the government, the police ever chiliba. So mlandu wako bati bale sangwa sana na balabene bati chili mu power. So we can't have that kind of peace or twinga kabila and abantu tetubenekera okusenda ene nanikana information ili suma nangula ibifine vya kidnap family okufuma kuli ba police mlandu wako bati bachacha ko bati the government is involved mulira nanikane, then the police is still like wakata munanikane mu government, so that tukwate nanikane ilia nani information abantu benga kabelo kumfa. So abantu mu Zambia tabakwete that trust muli ba police. So try kweba ba police kuba independent. Bakwebati olunombe kyalo kinga kwata oli omudende kuzinangu information yonzo bagala pe ikalale kwebati abantu bakwata ila trust muli ba police. So that's why abantu bali sumina boy no istano kumfa fye limbe kumuntu fye than any information from our police.
Benjamin.
Thank you, sir. Okay. I'm meant to agree. I know our guest is here. We need to pave way, but we had a concern from Mr. Miti from Fulira and Mr. Is it Kasongo, who's just from calling to say this should be the last time. It's a suggestion anyway from him that we stop talking about this issue. Do you know why we can't stop talking about this issue now? So wait.
Maybe let's try to fuse in this call and then call it a wrap with the last one after this one. Good morning.
Morning, sir. How are you?
Fine. Your name and where are you calling us from?
This is Stephen.
Kindly reduce the volume on the TV set so that we have a fluent discourse altogether.
Okay, it's very low now. My simple question, I've been following your conversation.
Thank you.
The gentleman that found the honorable, according to his narration, the honorable wasn't in a state where he couldn't talk. He was communicating with him. Why then did the honorable, according to him, tell him to call the wife? Instead of just saying, help me with your phone, I need to make one very important call.
Okay.
He was very much conscious. He was walking, he was talking. So already you can see that something is very wrong there.
Okay.
Someone who understands intelligence, you can tell that this is a cooked up story.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so
Nelson,
much.
we need to switch.
We need to switch. Unfortunately, we are not picking those calls.
Okay. Obviously, in the last 5 minutes of our programming, we'll be able to accommodate callers.
Yes.
But we need to rush. We have Mr. Banda here, Mr. Samuel Banda. He is the Advocate for National Development and Democracy Executive Director. Mr. Banda, good to see you. Welcome. You look smart.
Thank you very much, Joe. Good morning, and good morning to our dear viewers out there. Morning, Nelson.
Good morning.
Okay. Mr. Banda, we are switching from a heated debate with obviously our viewers out there whom we appreciate so much to talking about matters that have to do with the economy, Mr. Banda. I know you'll be able to comment on this particular matter that we are just from discussing because you are equally a youthful person like the youthful member of parliament as well. But quickly, you told us that you will be coming back here, Mr. Banda, to tell us about the meeting that is supposed to take place between KCM and Vedanta and other stakeholders, including government. Please bring us up to speed.
Okay, so as you may be aware, there's the transition, or there's the transition, KCM Vedanta transition going on. And the last part of that transition is the scheme of arrangement. And the first meeting was held last week, Friday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
KCM. KCM creditors meeting. Are we okay?
No, you can continue. You can continue.
Yeah, KCM creditors meeting. And according to Vendata, Corporate Communications Director, from his statement on Saturday, indicated that the outcome of the meeting was very successful.
Okay.
Yeah, KCM creditors voted overwhelmingly for the scheme of arrangement. To us, that is a serious progress.
Mr. Banda, just on that one, I want to find out the scheme of arrangement meeting that took place. Who were the parties involved?
So the parties were involved, KCM creditors, that is the suppliers and the contractors that KCM is owing.
Okay.
Now, the scheme of arrangement, this is a plan or a document that outlines how the investor, the data, plans to clear off payment to the suppliers and contractors that KCM is owing. So, getting reports from Mr. Masuji Njovu that KCM credit has voted overwhelmingly. It's a progressive development, in a sense that now it will lead to finalization of the KCM Vendata transition process. Now, our interest as advocates for national development and democracy is to see KCM start operating optimally. We want to see that mine start operating optimally so that jobs can be created, business opportunities, and more importantly, socio-economic development can be restored, not just on the Copper Belt, but in our country. As you may be aware, that Zambia is a mining country, and KCM plays a very important role in terms of contributing to our national treasury, and also in terms of creating employment and business opportunities for our people. So it is very important. Now, we are now looking forward to the second meeting, which will be held on the 30th of May. Should be this coming Thursday. And we want to call upon the creditors involved in the scheme of arrangement, in the second scheme of arrangement rather, to be patriotic and vote for the scheme of arrangement, so that the whole issue now can be expedited, and to ensure that even the creditors are paid, and more importantly, to ensure that the whole transition process, which has protracted for too long, can be finalized, and KCM can be now fully handed over to the investor. We are optimistic that the investor will sustain KCM and contribute positively to our national socio-economic development holistically.
We know these are some of the protracted negotiations that have been there for some time, but one might be asking questions to say, why is it that despite this protraction in terms of these ongoing scheme of arrangement has gone over time, is it really beneficial? Because we're coming to a day where we were celebrating the African Freedom Day, and we did see some experts really indicate that investors don't mean well for the country's economic growth. But are there indicators to trust Vendetta Mineral Resources, Mr. Panda?
Yes, there are indicators. As reviewed by Corporate Communication Director for Vendetta, Mr. Masudo Njovu, Vendetta has set aside $20 million for corporate social responsibility programs, which will delve to support critical economic sectors such as agriculture, education, and sports development, among others. Now, this is very important, and also the Communication Director, Mr. Masudu Njobu, indicated further that they'll, in implementing the corporate social responsibility program, they'll set up what they call a community trust, meaning that all the stakeholders will be involved in terms of implementing corporate social responsibility programs. For example, if the people of Chingola are interested in building water facilities, they can benefit from that $20 million. If there are youths who want to get into school and they don't have support, they don't have scholarship, they can benefit from that $20 million and get support. More importantly, also, Vendetta has set over $1.3 billion for money capitalization and development, which is very key in resuscitating KCM. As you may be aware, that KCM apparently is an intensive care unit. 2019, that they have about over 20,000 employees, but apparently they have 3,000 employees. Now look at the difference. What are these people doing in the community? They are jobless, and with this rising cost of living, harsh economic conditions, you know, it's quite tough. So all these meetings, KCM Vendetta meetings, scheme of arrangement, they are all leading now to finalization of the finalization of the transition process, and they're all leading now to resuscitation of KCM, which is very important. What is important, that we give them data terms and conditions that will meet the interest of our people. And so far, according to their strategic investment commitment, we feel that it's good for our development.
And the benefits of the people in the Copper Belt, what are the benefits when KCM becomes operational?
Good. One, we will see more jobs being created. Then again, remember, we are not just advocating for these investors to come and start operating our mines. We are also advocating that business opportunities must be given strictly to local suppliers and contractors. These are key business entities which play a very important role, not just in terms of creating employment, but also in terms of contributing to our national treasury through paying tax. Now, we have been advocating, Joe, that these investors, Vendetta, IRH, and other investors in the mining industry should prioritize giving local investors, local SMEs, business opportunities, unless in an event that they are not able to supply, they don't have the capacity. Then these investors now, they can endeavor to outsource from other companies. Now, remember, if we support, when we empower our local SMEs with business opportunity, it means we are growing our domestic economy, meaning we are also changing our socio-economic complexion. That is very key. That is very important. And I'm happy also President Hakainde Hichilema, when he was during the handover ceremony of Mopani Mine to the investor, indicated that business opportunities will be given to local suppliers and contractors. On that one, we really commend him, and that's how it should be, because these are our minerals, and we are of the view, we are of the opposition, that as a country, let's use our minerals to grow our economy, let's use our minerals to develop our country. Apparently, we have the challenge of load shedding, we have the challenge of high cost of fuel, and we believe it's all because of the non-functionality of the mines. Remember, kwacha is depreciating because we are not exporting more copper, which is a major commodity, which earns us more forex to stabilize our currency. Now, when KSM begin to operate, the other benefit is that we'll be able to increase more copper production and more export copper, trading volumes. What that means, we'll be earning more forex to stabilize the kwacha, and when we stabilize the kwacha, it means we are giving our own currency value. And you know what it means? We'll be able to reduce the cost of doing our business and create a conducive environment for our people to develop business and to contribute positively to our national development. Okay.
Mr. Banda, having said that, let's begin to conclude on the KCM matter and how far you've gone with your advocacy, because there is another subject matter of national interest that I feel you need to address. What are your last words regarding the KCM, Vedanta government and other stakeholders matter as an advocacy organization?
Okay, so Joe, as you may be aware, that there's the second meeting. Creators will be meeting on Thursday, 30th May. Okay. And our call to the creators and relevant stakeholders will be attending that same meeting. Our call is that be patriotic, support the full implementation of the scheme of arrangement, so that we can progress in terms of finalizing the KSM transition process, which we believe now will pave the way for the investor Vendata to take full control over KCM, begin to inject their strategic investment commitment, among them the over 1.3 billion US dollar, the 20 million US dollar for corporate social responsibility programs, and so that the mine can also start contributing to our national development in terms of creating employment for our people and business opportunities. Once again, support the scheme of arrangement. This is key to ensure that the whole process is finalized.
Okay. Mr. Banda, thank you so much for giving us an update on the creditors meeting that was held. And Vedanta, according to their Facebook post, appreciate obviously the support that is coming from stakeholders, and you, the advocates that are advocating for them to come back and be able to operationalize KCM. However, a matter of national interest, since you are also an advocate, over the weekend, a member of parliament was allegedly abducted. We thank God, we are a Christian nation. He was found and safely at Maina Soko right now, where he's receiving treatment. Mr. Banda, you are aware of this particular story.
Very much.
When you heard of this story, what came into your mind?
You see, it's a sad. It was a sad development. It is a sad development, and just like you rightly put it, that we're a Christian nation, meaning that as a Christian nation, we expect that Christian values must be promoted: peace, love, and unity, which are actually pillars of our democracy. So to hear that a member of parliament has been allegedly abducted, it's a sad development. Such should not happen in our country. Such should not happen in our country. Not at all. We hope that there are no politics behind, but at the end of the day, we want to say that only JJ Banda knows what happened, and we wait for him to fully recover so that he can tell exactly what happened. Otherwise, what other people are saying, we will take them as insinuations without facts. only JJ Banda who say the truth. I thank God that he returned alive, and that's what we are all looking forward to. Our call to the security wings, the Zambia police, is that let's enhance security systems to prevent such issues, such occurrences to happen. Remember, prevention is better than cure. So the alleged abduction of JJ Banda somehow exposed the gaps in our security system. I believe that we have security cameras around Lusaka, dotted around Lusaka. So those security cameras, we believe they are for monitoring they are for monitoring citizens, so that to prevent crime, to prevent such occurrences. To the politicians and other stakeholders, my call is that let's allow the police to do the due diligence, to investigate, and to allow JJ recover fully, so that he can tell his side of the story.
Okay, not so.
But that's called, I have to call it a day.
Any cause?
Any cause as it is, it's just that we have to restrict calls, because
are they coming?
Of course, they're very important.
We have to accommodate time to Mr. Banda. I know almost every caller out there was itching to actually give in their perspective in terms of what they think. But from my end, in as much as a lot of things have been said, we need to await for investigations to be concluded, because he's a member of parliament, so there's also a likelihood that politics might be involved. There's also likelihood that, in as much as it is an alleged abduction, it might be a genuine abduction. So all these are only going to be conclusive matters that we can get to respond on once the police get to do their job, which I believe.
But there was a comment, Nelson. Our follower on Facebook was saying, no, leave this matter, it's sensitive. I can categorically tell him to say, we can't leave this matter. Because it's a public issue. It's already in public domain.
Exactly.
We can't stop talking about it, we'll talk about it, and this will help the police to even expedite the investigation, so that we come to the root to the root cause of this particular issue, who abducted the honorable member. But Mr. Banda, as we let you go, like Nelson is saying that we're running out of time, your concluding remarks, sir.
Okay.
KCM we've concluded.
KCM we've concluded.
On JJ and the economy, obviously, outlook.
On the economy, we have observed one issue, which is hindering economic growth, and the issue of load shedding.
Okay.
It should be last week. ZESCO also released actually another statement indicating that they have increased the number of load shedding hours. Yeah. Now look at our economy. Our people, Mumakomboni, they depend on electricity. Look at the saloons. These people run my saloons, the welders, butcheries. You know, they all depend on energy. They all depend on electricity. These barber shops, they all depend on electricity, and those businesses are the only source of their employment, or let me say income. And now with this load shedding, we are wondering, how will people grow their businesses, and how will our economy grow? Remember, the government set a very ambitious target of growing our economy to 4.7, which was unfortunately downgraded by IMF to 2.3. It's all because of these factors of load shedding. One of the factors we can attribute why IMF downgraded our growth economy projection of our growth economy. Government should put in measure to avoid this load shedding. Remember, the UPND government promised the people of Zambia that the issue of load shedding won't be there during their governance. It won't be there because it is detrimental to our economy. But here we have load shedding. So it's important that we make our leaders accountable to what they promise our people. Otherwise, this load shedding is hindering our economy, it's killing our own domestic economy. If it means to import, let's import. It's unfortunate that the same electricity is very expensive. At the same time, it's difficult to. At the same time, we're being load shedding over abnormal hours. Our call to the government that do the due diligence, it means import for the sake of growing our economy.
Okay. Mr. Banda concludes there, Nelson, and we need to go. You are agreeing that this issue is already in public domain, and we need to talk about it to the latter as we continue following it, obviously. Mr. Banda, thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm very much grateful, Joe, for this platform.
Okay, fantastic. Nelson,
thank you so much. Thank you so much to our viewers for giving it a second shot to ensuring that we keep those aspirations alive and continue to push for another exciting day under this new week with new aspirations and keeping that head up in ensuring that we conquer all our challenges that we have. We thank you so much for your company, the calls, as well as the text messages, as well as the comments on our Facebook platform regarding today's transmission. Keep it locked here on Camnet TV. Remember to follow us as well on our Facebook page, that is Camnet TV, and be rest assured that in the afternoon, Joe will be here to give you the latest updates in as far as news is concerned, as well as issues relating to current affairs. And excitingly so, I'm sure one of his guests is also prepared to come and give you those insights and make those decisions from an informed point of view. We call it a wrap. It has been Tavelo, Joe, Simata, and Nelson Zulu. We are the Breakfast Boys. For now, keep on coming.
Okay, fantastic.